The Greeks are calling it blackmail, a cynical choice between euro membership and a return to the drachma. The Prime Minister's decision is bewildering to those outside the country as well. George Papandreou's call for a referendum on the bailout package came as a surprise to his own party, his people, and to all of Europe.
I think the austerity politics has been wrong-headed to start with, because actually there's very little chance of Greece coming out of recession without a change of economic policy. But certainly this is not the way to bring about a change of policy, and Papandreou himself has been very much a supporter of this structural change. So it's really puzzling why this political move was made by him.
So why did he do it? There are several theories. Perhaps to assert his authority over his own socialist party, where many are unhappy with yet more austerity. Or maybe he thinks a referendum will strengthen his bargaining position with Europe and the IMF in negotiations over spending cuts. He might be trying to ensure popular legitimacy for the years of austerity and pain which lie ahead for Greece. Or he could just be exhausted and fed up and looking for a way out. The mood in Athens is one of cynicism and despair.
If this referendum takes place, there will be no good outcome. If we vote for the IMF, we're condemned. If we return to the drachma, we're again condemned. This referendum should have taken place before we went to the IMF.
I don't think the referendum will help. I don't think so. The best option would be elections.
Fresh elections are just what the Greek opposition leader wants. After meeting the Greek president on Tuesday, he claimed the premier was jeopardizing Greece's membership of the European Union.
In order to save himself, Mr. Papandreou is blackmailing us. He's putting our future and our position in Europe in danger.
It's thought the referendum might only take place in January next year. That means a lot of uncertainty in the weeks ahead. Or it might not happen at all. Papandreou must first hope his party's dwindling majority can secure a vote of confidence in Parliament this week. If not, the government could fall.
All right, let's get more from Jonah Hull, who's live in Athens. Jonah, the referendum announcement seems to have taken everyone by surprise, including the Greeks themselves. What's been reaction there?
It's absolutely taken everyone by surprise here. There are even suggestions that it took George Papandreou's own cabinet by surprise. One news agency saying that the finance minister wasn't informed, and the finance ministry had to rush into telephone calls with the troika of lenders to Greece, the EU, the ECB and the IMF on Tuesday morning, trying to reassure them about what's going on. It certainly caused major ructions within the Socialist Party, Papandreou's ruling party here. They're not happy about not being told about this decision in advance. At least 6 socialist MPs have called for the Prime Minister's resignation. They've called for a unity government and general elections after that. The socialists, of course, remember, have a very, very slim majority in the Parliament here. Until Tuesday afternoon, they had just 3 seats. Then one socialist MP defected. They now have just 2 seats in majority, and there are strong rumours that at least 2 more socialist MPs are getting ready to quit the party. That, if it were to take place, would bring the government down. It would no longer command an overall majority in Parliament, and therefore potentially it might be asked to form a coalition, the opposition might be asked to form a coalition, or they might move straight to general elections. That hasn't happened yet, of course, but the crucial date now is later this week, possibly Friday, when the government will submit itself to a vote of confidence in Parliament. And if it can't succeed in that vote of confidence with just those 2 slim seats still remaining, if indeed they are still remaining by Friday, well, then it'll all be over for George Papandreou and his socialist government here.
All right, presumably that's not ideal in such a time of crisis. But what about the majority of Greeks? We have reports saying that a poll suggests that 60% of Greeks are in fact against the austerity measures. Does that mean they are also against the EU bailout deal and the euro?
Well, probably first of all, it's worth saying that they're not for George Papandreou. They are against this Prime Minister and the policies that he's put in place. They're certainly against the austerity package, as far as we understand it from a poll that was released in the last couple of days. 60% said to be against the austerity package. The other side of that coin, though, is that there is, or appears to be, a sort of broad consensus amongst most Greeks that this country is better off in the euro than outside of it. Now, the problem is they can't have both. So if there is sense behind this referendum, what needs to happen in the next 2 months before it's scheduled to take place in January, if this confidence vote is passed, that is that the government needs to launch some sort of hyperdrive PR campaign and try and convince the Greek people that saying no to austerity, saying no to the bailout package, saying no to the debt relief from the banks is also saying no to the euro. And if they can convince people that it is more important to stay in the euro, then perhaps it has a chance of success. Failure, the consequences of failure, of course, could be disastrous for this country. It would then be pushed into a messy default. The banks could collapse, with the loss of savings and of pensions for this country, to say nothing of the wider consequences, of course, for the euro bailout package as a whole and the region that this country currently sits in.
OK, Jonah Hull live in Athens there.